There we go. Hey everybody, Chris here. Had some Wi-Fi stuff going on. I have been sort of going in and out. Hopefully everybody will be able to stay with me tonight. Happy Sunday. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris and I'm a wife and a mom, and my passion is sharing tips and helping others to live a healthy and low maintenance lifestyle so that they have the time and the energy to do the things that they love. And the hot topic tonight is anti-aging in particular, and it's something in your kitchen that can be prepared very, very easily and has huge anti-aging benefits. Who doesn't love some anti-aging? If that's you, throw me some hearts, shout a big yes, anything, and let me know you're on the same page as me and anti-aging is something you'd love to know more about, especially if it's something that you can prepare very easily in your own kitchen. And this little something not only has anti-aging benefits, it has incredible health benefits that I'm about to share with y'all. And notice I am not in my kitchen, even though this is food, tonight. Reason being, this particular food is something that is not prepared quickly in that it takes time for it to cook, but it's a 3-minute preparation situation. 3 to 5 minutes and it's prepped, and then you let it go, but it takes all day and it's not something I can do in a live. So I'm going to tell you all about it tonight. I'm going to tell y'all how to do it. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to come back live and show y'all the last step, which is one of the most important steps. So I know y'all are ready to hear a little bit more about it. Before I dive into what it is exactly, some of y'all might already know because I've had a lot of you reach out personally and tell me this is something that y'all wanted to know how to do. So I'm going to tell you how I do this. First, let me tell y'all a bit about the benefits of this particular recipe. I've already told you anti-aging. It is literally collagen in this particular food. You are drinking collagen, which is pretty incredible. Another benefit is a really high concentration of minerals so that you can sleep better. Improves your nervous system, your immune system, has a calming effect. It is mood boosting, mental alertness. Who wouldn't love that? Let's see what else here. Improved memory. That's ironic because I couldn't remember. I think I already said that one. Improved memory. What else? Let's see here. I've got my notes. Gut health. It is very, very rich in something called gelatin. So y'all are probably getting a little warmer on what it is I'm going to be talking about. So it is rich in gelatin, which actually will help seal up little holes in the intestinal wall, something you hear about with people who have leaky gut syndrome or particular autoimmune diseases, or even just food intolerances. That gelatin in this particular food, or actually it's a drink, helps to seal those holes and helps a lot with food intolerance. So that's another benefit of this recipe. Another one, all my fitness buffs who love lifting weights and working out really hard, muscle growth, connective tissue repair, stronger bones. Let's see, what else? Muscle growth, connective tissue repair, because of the amino acids that are in this particular recipe, in this drink, that actually the amino acids are a product of this drink when you create it, is really what helps enhance the growth and repair of muscle and connective tissue. By increasing levels of creatine, again, my fitness people probably have heard of that. Take creatine as a supplement, most likely, and helps increase levels of human growth hormone, not as in like human growth hormone, but something that naturally is excreted in our bodies. This helps also with that. And as we grow older, women especially, being able to retain muscle and grow muscle is really crucial in preventing osteoporosis. I can go on and on. So, joint health. It's another benefit of this particular recipe. Protects and helps heal joints. People that have joint pain, helps tremendously with that, preventing osteoarthritis. And then last but not least, anti-aging. Yay! Reason being, collagen. So, reason I love this so much is that you ingest this internally. It is a food. It is not a pill from the vitamin shop. It is not a supplement in pill form that we are all running to the drugstore sometimes to take for a lot of these symptoms that people have, especially the joint health and so forth. This is something that your body is readily absorbing, will be happy to soak in and absorb because it is food in food form. So it's the highest what they call bioavailability, which is basically getting all your nutrients from food that you possibly can. Your body craves nutrients from food. If we rely too much on vitamins, hey Lizzie, thanks for my heart. If we rely too much on vitamins, our body does not recognize that as food, and it's very likely that our body will not absorb a lot of those vitamins. I'm sure you've heard that before. You might absorb 30-20% of those vitamins that you're taking, but when you get all these minerals and vitamins from food, your body's going to absorb 100% of it because it is food, and your body does recognize it and isn't going to try to filter it out as something that is foreign. So in case you haven't already guessed it, I'm going to let y'all guess it. My friends who are live right now, what is it that I'm about to tell y'all how to do? Well, I get my stuff here. What's my recipe? I know Liz knows. We talked about this earlier. What am I making? I'm gonna give everybody a guess. There's like a 20-second delay too, people, so you might already have typed it. It's a good packaged brand, as good as homemade. Jojo, what am I making? I have no idea. Bone broth. Thanks, Lizzie. Bone broth. We've been talking about this for a couple days now. Those of you that don't know, there's a big difference between bone broth and stock. They are not the same thing. If you are boiling chicken and vegetables for hours and straining it, that is just a flavored stock. Yay, Jojo, bone broth. Missy, why are you so darn cute? Oh, you just made my night. It's been a long day. Very long day. So thank you for that. That makes me smile. So big difference between stock and bone broth. Stock is simply flavoring. We use it to flavor foods, and it will have some of the nutrients from boiling chicken, vegetables, etc. Bone broth has a slight difference in how you make it, what's in it, and the benefits. The benefits I just covered, right? But the biggest tonight being the anti-aging benefits of, I drink it like a tea, but I talked to y'all the other night about how I also used bone broth to cook rice and pasta for the kids and quinoa and things like that, so that my kids get the benefits of the broth if they don't want to drink the broth. Although my girls love it and they drink it hot like a tea if it's cold outside. It just has so much flavor. So they drink it, but could absolutely make a soup out of it. There's a million things you can do with it. Yes, Lillian, bone broth. So I'm holding a couple things here that I'm going to explain to y'all as to why it's different and how to make it. In a nutshell, the first thing you always want to do is choose your meat that comes from the healthiest animal possible. Reason being, when you're making a bone broth, all of those minerals and nutrients that are going to be extracted literally from the bones of the animal are going to be boiled, and you're drinking it like in a really concentrated form and drinking it, right? So you want it to be as healthy of an animal as possible. By healthy, I mean, grass-fed cattle, or, free-range poultry, organic. Y'all know, most of you probably, what I'm talking about. So if you don't know where that is, you could contact your local farmer's market, your local butcher. There's a website called US Wellness. Hold on, I have it here. US Wellness Meats. I think it's a .com, might be a .com or a .org, but Google U.S. Wellness Meats if you don't have anywhere local that you can buy these, grass-fed cattle, beef, and free-range poultry, wild-caught fish, etc. So, to the recipe. This will be posted, so if you don't have a pen and paper handy, you could always hit replay and write this all down later. But you're going to need one whole, I do mine with chicken. You could do this absolutely with a beef and use the bones from the beef. I basically, like I talked about the other night, trying to maximize leftovers, have my rotisserie chicken for dinner that I've roasted in the oven, and then take those leftover bones and carcass, zip it up into a gallon size freezer bag and put it in my refrigerator. And it's good for a few days, but usually the next day or the day after is when I plan to make the broth. I'll plan to start it first thing in the morning so it can go all day. I personally make my bone broth in a slow cooker because I don't want to have to think about it all day, or it starts to boil over, or if I have to step out, whatever it is, I always use my slow cooker. It's recommended on low 10 to 12 hours, or on high, they say anywhere from 4 to 6. I still would do 6 to 7 probably on high in a slow cooker. So what you're going to need is your leftover bones or carcass from your chicken. Where do you normally get your chicken from to make broth? Whole Foods, Earth Fare is typically where I'll go, and I would try to find their highest quality pasture raised poultry. Ideally, if I can find it, a step 4. I don't think Whole Foods or Earth Fare have step 5. I don't know that anyone in Columbia has step 5. To be step 5, you practically have to see it live and kill it and take it home. I mean, I really think that's what a step 5 is. But I have seen step 4 on some of their poultry. But I try to get as high as I can. You're welcome. And then for the beef, obviously always grass-fed, always grass-fed. But that's a lie for another night as to why that's so important. Okay, so the whole chicken carcass into the crock pot. I always add 3 or 4 bay leaves. I love the way it flavors the broth. Again, a lot of recipes out there, if you look it up, will say 1 bay leaf. I don't think it gives it enough flavor. It's a lot of water going in there. So I always put in 3 or 4 dry bay leaves. 1 whole onion peeled and just cut into 4, throw it right in there. I'll do 2 or 3 celery stalks, 2 or 3 carrots peeled and just cut into a couple pieces, thrown in. Nothing fancy, just throw it all in. Salt, pepper, water. Filtered is best. I've used tap water many times. Filtered is recommended. And you want to fill it just over the chicken so that it's not too watered down, so that you can really maximize all of the nutrients in that pot by not watering it down too much. So just past maybe an inch or so above where the chicken is. And last but not least, this is what differentiates stock from bone broth, is 2 to 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I know that sounds crazy. The brand I use is this Bragg brand. You can get it at Whole Foods, Earth Fare. I think I've seen it at Publix. But this is the raw, unfiltered with the mother, which is that lovely stuff at the bottom. Just 2 or 3 tablespoons, not a ton. I usually will just kind of do a little splash. I just eyeball it. It does actually give it a lovely flavor. But the reason for the apple cider vinegar is that is what is going to extract those minerals, those nutrients, the collagen, the marrow, all that goodness from the bones of the carcass. The apple cider vinegar is what's going to extract it from the bones themselves. So that is the difference between a stock and a bone broth, is the vinegar extracting the nutrients. Otherwise, it's just a flavored stock, which again has many benefits, and it's wonderful, and it's a great way to save leftovers. But to get the benefits, you have to have the apple cider vinegar in there. So apple cider vinegar, put your top on. Then set it and forget it, walk away. Again, mine's in my slow cooker. I usually do it on low for 10, 12 plus hours. I mean, the longer the better. Some people even say up to 24 hours. I'm funny about going to bed with the crock pot on. I don't know why. Supposedly you can do it, but I'm just kind of a freak about it, so I don't. So I usually will get up really early and get it started like 6, 7 a.m. You know, when I'm getting the kids up for school, throw it all in there, because again, it's so easy just to toss it all in. And then let it go all day till late that night. Also, a couple hours in, you're gonna wanna stop and check on the broth, because there will be a light foam that'll form on top, and that's basically all the impurities coming out of the meat and the bones. And you just skim it off with like a big spoon or spatula, anything. You'll only have to do that once or twice. However, the healthier the meat source, the less of those impurities you're gonna see bubbling up at the top. So if you got a really high quality meat or chicken, you're not gonna see a lot of the those impurities. But if you do, just, you know, scrape them right off the top, put the top back on, and let it go all day long. Then when you get to the end of the cooking, however many hours you decided to go with, you're going to want to turn it off, let it cool, take the top off. It'll help it cool a little bit faster. Let it cool to the point that you can kind of handle the pot and handle the stuff inside without really burning yourself. And then you're going to need some kind of a really good mesh strainer. This one's not that big, but this is the one I use. You can get a much bigger one. It has the little hook on this end, and basically so it can just sort of balance like on a bowl. And I'll set it on the bowl, and then with a big ladle I'll start to pull the broth out and strain it through into a bowl. Then you'll kind of get to the point where you can literally dump the whole thing in there, and all your vegetables and chicken and whatnot will kind of fall into there. You might have to do it in a couple of, you know, loads, but you really want to do that because all those little tiny little bits and pieces and fragments from the bone, you don't want to drink that. So you want to make sure you have a really good high quality mesh strainer to strain that with. So it's all going to go into your bowl, all that goodness. Then you are going to let it continue to cool a little bit longer. And some people even will take the whole container and stick it in the refrigerator and let it get really cool and let the fat separate from the bottom, and then discard the fat that came, you know, from the bones and everything. I leave it, honestly, especially because my girls are, you know, growing young girls that could use that animal fat, because animal fat is actually really good for their little brains and bodies. So I don't really, I don't take it out. But for myself, when I am going to drink it and it's been in the refrigerator, before I heat it up, I'll take some of that fat out and heat it up and drink it. But for the girls, I never do. So you could do that, or you could go ahead and start putting it into containers. One thing about storage, when you're talking about a fat, an animal fat, especially at a high temperature, stored in plastic, is not always ideal, in that the fat, when it's heated, especially if you have to reheat it in the microwave, will actually extract some of those toxins from the plastic container. So it's really not ideal. If you have to do it, just make sure it's completely cool, so it's not hot broth in the plastic container. My thing just froze. Are y'all still there? My Wi-Fi connection's terrible. Hopefully I can stay with y'all one more minute. I'm almost done. Anyway, so I use mason jars. Walmart, I buy big packs of the pickling jar, mason jars, and I will fill either the giant ones or the smaller ones. Just always make sure you leave a little bit of room, or if you fill it all the way and then seal it and freeze it, it will break. Been there, done that, made that mistake. It's a nightmare. So always leave a little bit of room at the top and then seal it, and you can freeze it, or you can refrigerate it for up to 5 days and reuse it. So that's your bone broth. I know that was a lot at one time, but hopefully that helped explain a little bit about how I make it. And again, I'm going to post this, and I can also post this step-by-step for y'all to screenshot. If you want to, let me know. I'm happy to do that. You can also private message me if you'd like some more tips on that or have some more questions about that. I'm happy to help. And I just really appreciate y'all tuning in on my bone broth recipe that I promised y'all, and I'm going to actually make mine tomorrow morning with my leftover roast chicken from tonight, and I will post pictures of the before and after, and I may even come live at the end to show you what it looks like at the end, like I was telling you about, and what to look for and how to store it. So again, thank you again, and hopefully this was helpful, and if it was, let me know and show me some love or private message me if you have any questions. And I hope y'all have a great start to your week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, y'all.